Teresa and Aldo's Story by Robyn Schiralli of Miranda 2228. Narrated by Janine Penfold. Teresa stood on the deck of the SS Radnik as it berthed into Sydney Harbour on a brisk winter morning in 1950. She was young, just 19, and filled with both excitement and apprehension at the new life she was embarking upon. Her husband Aldo had travelled to Australia ahead of her to ensure the stability of employment for him and secure somewhere to live with his new wife. It was an era of large-scale immigration, with many arriving from Europe in search of a better life. Whilst Teresa and Aldo, and many couples like them, anticipated that they would have much to celebrate in their new homeland, they were perhaps less cognizant of the value they would be infusing into the diversity of Australia for Australians. Teresa was not as adept in the English language as was Aldo. However, with her husband's guidance, she was determined to gain a rudimentary level of proficiency upon which to build. Years later, she recounted to me her attempt to purchase clothes pegs from the corner store and the store owner's patience as she used a combination of words and gestures to communicate her needs. Over the years, a friendship developed between Teresa and the store owner, who embraced the opportunity to learn more about the Italian lady who was new to the country. It was a celebration for both ladies, who complemented each other in vastly different ways. While Teresa's command of English strengthened through her regular conversations with the shop owner, an additional benefit of the friendship was their regular exchange of recipes. This, in turn, resulted in the expansion of the store's grocery line to include some Italian staples. Furthermore, the increasing number of European settlers to the area would have recognised this as a welcoming gesture and a sign of acceptance within the community. Within time, the infusion of a myriad of spices and pastas not previously widely used benefited the palates of all Australians. A significant event in the lives of Teresa and Aldo was the day that they received their official acceptance as Australian citizens. Teresa spoke of the immense joy she felt as she received her certificate alongside the small gathering of other applicants who were to receive their certificates. The diversity of cultures standing with her, beaming with pride and attired in their finest outfits, signified the status of the occasion as a celebration. It was also an important milestone in their new lives. It did not take long for Teresa to secure employment, joining her husband on the production line of a well-respected Australian appliance company. They were soon able to buy their first modest home. They spent the weekends doing renovations and celebrated the fact that they were part of the Australian dream. Teresa supplemented her family's income with her dressmaking skills. News of the quality of her work reached her local church, and as she wanted to give back to the community who had welcomed her and her family, Teresa generously made the local priests religious garments at no charge. Aldo's mode of transport for travel to work prior to Teresa joining the workforce was a bicycle. It served its purpose as a financially viable alternative until he was able to purchase his first four-wheel vehicle. Unsurprisingly, Aldo purchased a Holden FE, his pride and joy for many years and an Australian icon. Over the coming years, they welcomed the births of their 3 sons. They embraced the Australian way of life, and their circle of friends grew. Barbecues at their home became a regular occurrence, and, as a nod to her heritage, Teresa would always include a tray of lasagna or similar pasta dish. Aldo would take charge of the record player, ensuring his guests were entertained with a healthy mix of artists, including Elvis Presley and Mario Lanza. He delighted in introducing some of the lesser-known Italian singers into his repertoire, a habit which was met with enthusiasm from his guests. Teresa and Aldo, typical of their time, were testimony to the value of cultural diversity. During their lives, they witnessed many positive developments within their community and the country in general. The availability of a wider selection of food choices, including pizza restaurants and the like, heightened the average Australian's culinary experience. Furthermore, their journey brought into reality a greater understanding of the world outside of Australia. It helped to increase tolerance for the beliefs and social practices of other lands. Prior to this time, knowledge of Europe was limited to that which was seen in movies and usually restricted to the depiction of famous city landmarks. Both Teresa and Aldo found the transition from one country to another relatively seamless. They had been eager to adopt the Australian way of life and felt fortunate that their new homeland readily acknowledged and valued the positive aspects of celebrating cultural diversity. From a personal perspective, it can be said that without diversity of cultures, I would not have met my husband, who is the second son of Teresa and Aldo. Our marriage has produced 2 sons who, in turn, have gone on to marry partners from equally diverse cultural backgrounds. As we reflect on the composition and inherent values of Australia and its people, it is apparent the celebration of diversity, particularly cultural diversity, has played a significant role in enriching what is recognised as truly the lucky country. The end.